was born in the area of the Chao Phraya River Basin. My ancestral home is located on the opposite bank of Wat Paklong Makham Tao, an ancient temple widely known for the reputation of Luang Pu Suk. My maternal grandfather was one of Luang Pu Suk's disciples. The tales from the Chao Phraya River Basin are stories my mother used to tell me when I was a child. Now, I would like to recount one of them again for all to hear the story of Bueng Ruea Thong. The Chao Phraya River is calm today. I cry stand on the bank opposite Wat Paklong Makham Tao. The evening sunlight casts a golden path across the water surface, but my gaze is fixed on a spot in the middle of the river, where the water appears to swirl gently, never settling. Cry, don't take the boat out just yet, son. My mother's voice calls from the small wooden house behind me. The whirlpool looks unusually strong today. Mother, or Yatiwa now in her 70s, still has sharp eyes when watching the river. She walks over and grips my hand firmly. You know, right there is where grandfather drowned. Yes, mother, I know, I reply softly. The story of my grandfather Ta Phung is one I've heard since childhood. Grandfather was a close disciple of Luang Pu Suk of Wat Paklong Makham Tao. One day toward the end of the rainy season, he rode across the river to make merit at the temple. On his way back, a sudden storm struck. His small wooden boat capsized in that very whirlpool, and his body was swallowed by the currents, never to be found. But the story doesn't end there. In the evenings, mother would continue the story, accompanied by the rhythmic croaking of frogs. That whirlpool where grandfather drowned, son, is the gateway to Bang Ta, Ruea Thong, a place ordinary humans cannot reach. Mother went on to say that decades ago, a young villager named Mr. Clan accidentally wandered into that marsh. It was vast, with emerald green water, eerily silent and terrifying, home to hundreds of crocodiles. But the strange thing was, mother continued in a hushed tone, those crocodiles did not harm Mr. Clan because a young woman appeared. That woman was Ngam, the guardian spirit who watched over the crocodiles. She saved Mr. Clan from danger, and the two fell in love. They lived there together and had a son. However, a deep longing for his hometown gnawed at Mr. Clan's heart, mother's side, until one day he asked to return to visit his parents in the village. Nang Nghe Ang, soft-hearted, agreed to let her husband leave, but set 3 conditions. First, he must promise to return. Second, he must not unwrap the cloth bundle she gave him until he reached his parents' home. And third, he must never tell anyone about where she lived. Mr. Clan agreed. They parted with heavy hearts. When Mr. Clan reached home, mother continued, he kept his promise waiting until he was at his parents' house before unwrapping the cloth bundle. Inside the bundle, woven with golden lotus leaves, lay valuable gold and precious gems. Mr. Clan and his family sold them, earning a huge sum and becoming the district's new wealthy family. But then, mother's tone shifted to one of warning. Mr. Clan forgot his promise. Days turned into months, and months into years. A new house was built. Mr. Clan remarried a village woman, forgetting all about Nang Ngom and the child waiting at Bueng Ruea Thong. News of Mr. Clan's wealth spread far and wide, mother said, until it reached the ears of a young man named Mr. Cow. Mr. Cow was lazy and loved to gamble. Upon hearing the story, he hatched a plan. He intentionally rowed his boat to the whirlpool area and allowed himself to be sucked into Bueng Ruea Thong. When Nang Nghe Am saw Mr. Cow, Mother recounted with sorrow. She was overjoyed, thinking her husband had returned. But within just a few days, Nangeam learned the truth. This was not her beloved Mr. Clan, but a stranger who had come only for the treasure. Rage and pain drove Nangeam to order all the crocodiles in the marsh to attack Mr. Cow. Mother's voice trembled. They tore him apart until nothing remained. From that day on, Bueng Ruea Thong became a cursed place. Nangeam declared that anyone who strayed in driven by greed would meet the same end as Mr. Cow. And what about grandfather, mother? I asked one night. Did grandfather make it to Bueng Ruea Thong? Mother fell silent for a long while before answering. I believe he didn't die like that. She told me that after grandfather disappeared, 3 days later, something strange happened. Grandfather's pale blue shirt, which had gone missing on the morning he drowned, reappeared in front of the house. It was completely dry, with no trace of having been in the water. And that very night, Mother whispered, I dreamed of grandfather. He said, don't fear the whirlpool. I am there with her now. Mother believes that grandfather didn't drown but was taken to Bueng Ruea Thong. And perhaps he met Nangeam or something else entirely. I have carried this entire story with me all my life. Until one day, Mother called me into her room. Cried, you have turned 25. It is time you knew the full truth, she said solemnly, then brought out an old teakwood box. Inside the box were 3 items. Grandfather's pale blue shirt, a cloth bundle woven from golden lotus leaves that had begun to fade, and an ancient inscription on a silver plate shaped like a crocodile. I have kept these things for 30 years, she said with tears in her eyes. Grandfather was not just an ordinary villager. He was a disciple of Luang Pu Suk, entrusted with protecting that gateway. Mother explained that the whirlpool was not merely a whirlpool but a connecting point between the human world and an ancient spiritual realm. Bueng Ruea Thong was a semi-real, semi-spiritual land that required balance to be maintained. Mr. Clan was able to enter and leave because he was pure of heart at first, Mother told me. But when greed took hold, he lost the ability to pass through. As for Mr. Cow, he never left Bueng Ruea Thong because he entered driven by greed from the very beginning. And what about grandfather? I asked again. Mother looked into my eyes. Grandfather did not die. He chose to remain there, to become the guardian of the gateway in his stead. Why didn't you tell me earlier, Mother? I asked. Because I was afraid you would try to go there, Mother replied. But now the signs are clear. It is time grandfather needs someone to continue his duty. He pointed to the crocodile-shaped inscription. Read it. I looked closely and saw ancient script engraved on it. When the whirlpool turns counter to the sun on a moonless night, a descendant of the bloodline may cross if their heart is pure, like the first dew of the waning moon. You are the descendant, cry, Mother said, and tonight is a moonless night. I looked out the window and saw the whirlpool in the middle of the river spinning in an abnormal direction, turning left instead of right. Grandfather is waiting for you, Mother stated. But remember, you must enter with a pure heart. Do not be greedy like Mr. Cow. Do not forget your promise like Mr. Clan. I prepared a small rowboat, the same wooden boat grandfather used on his final day. I draped a white cloth over myself, following the tradition of Luang Pu Suk's disciples. Mother, I turned to look at her, standing on the shore. If I don't return, you will return, she replied with certainty. Because you are neither Mr. Clan nor Mr. Cow, you are Cry, the descendant of the gatekeeper. I began rowing away from the shore, heading straight for the whirlpool. The moonlight was completely obscured, leaving only scattered starlight visible. I could feel the pull from the whirlpool growing stronger. Mother's final words drifted on the wind. Remember, my son, Bueng Ruea Thong holds more than just gold. It holds promises, love, and duty. My boat entered the edge of the whirlpool. I felt the intense force of the spin. Everything around me began to blur, and the roaring water sounded like the bellowing of crocodiles. When I came to, I found myself at the edge of a vast marsh. The water was emerald green and clear as glass, and the sky shimmered with hues of gold and pink never seen in the human world. And right in front of me, an elderly man sat beneath a banyan tree, smiling at me. "Tafum," I whispered. "Hello, Cry," grandfather said in a warm voice. "It's good to finally meet you." All around, dozens of crocodiles moved in the water. Yet they did not approach, as if knowing I was an invited guest. "Come along, Chai," grandfather rose. "There is someone who has been very eager to meet you." He led me along a path paved with white stones until we reached an ancient teak pavilion. There, a woman dressed in traditional indigo blue attire stood with a teenage boy. "This is Nangaam," grandfather said, "and this is her son with Mr. Clan. His name is Nam Thong." Nam Thong looked at me curiously. "Are you the new person who will stay with us?" Nangaam smiled gently. "No, Nam Thong. This one is only visiting, and he must return." Throughout my 3 days at Bueng Ruea Thong, though I have no idea how many hours passed in the human world, I learned the full truth. Grandfather did not die that day, but was saved by Nang Em. She knew he was the new gatekeeper sent by Luang Pu Suk to maintain the balance between the two worlds. Mr. Clan is also still alive, but he can no longer stay at Bueng Ruea Thong because he forfeited that right when he abandoned Nang Niam. He now lives in the human world but is cursed never to be wealthy again despite possessing gold. As for Mr. Cow, his body was never destroyed but was transformed into one of the crocodile doomed to swim in circles within this marsh for eternity. "Everything has its price," cried grandfather said as he showed me the golden garden, which was actually golden flowers that bloom only through purity of heart. "This is not a treasury of riches, but a testing ground for the soul." When it was time to leave, grandfather handed me the lotus leaf bundle. "Take this to your mother, she will understand." "And what about you, grandfather?" I asked. "Will you come home?" Grandfather stood gazing at the marsh. "My duty is to remain here, to continue guarding this gateway until a new keeper arrives." "But don't worry," grandfather smiled. "Time here is different from the human world. When the right day comes, we will meet again." Nangeam walked over and gave me a golden lotus flower. "Give this to Mr. Clan if you ever see him. Tell him I have forgiven him and Nam Thong is well." Nam Thong ran up to me. "Will you come back?" "I promise," I replied. Before parting, I asked one final question. "Why me? Why now?" Grandfather answered simply, "Because the gateway is becoming unstable. The greed of humans in this era is so great that it threatens to destroy the balance. You must help watch over that side while I watch over this one." This time, upon returning, I found myself back in the boat in the middle of the Chao Phraya River. Only an hour had passed according to the world's clock. At home, mother was waiting anxiously. "Did you see grandfather?" she asked as soon as I stepped ashore. "Yes, I did," I replied and handed her the clock bundle. Mother opened the bundle. Inside were not gold or gem, but a freshly bloomed golden lotus and a new inscription on the crocodile-shaped silver plate. "One keeper, two sides, two world, two time, but a single bond. Since then, I have lived a normal life, yet I always know there is another world connected to me. On certain nights, when the whirlpool turned counter to the sun, I row my boat out close to it, not to enter, but to send my thoughts to grandfather on the other side. I searched for Mr. Clan and found him in a temple where he had ordained as a monk to atone for his sins. When I gave him the golden lotus and relayed Nang Nge Am's words, tears streamed down the man's face. Thank you so much. To this day, I still live along the bank of the Chao Phraya River opposite Wat Pak Plong Makam Tao. But now I look upon the whirlpool with different eyes. It is no longer a fearful, dangerous place, but a gateway of responsibility, a bridge between reality and legend, between past and present, between this world and that one. And sometimes, on moonless nights, when the wind whispers by, I swear I can hear grandfather's voice saying, "Take good care of your mother, cry. Take good care of your world. As for this world, I will watch over it myself." The story of Bueng Ruea Thong is not over. It simply has one more storyteller now. And this time, the tale will be passed on with a deeper understanding that true treasure is not the gold in the marsh, but the promises kept, the love that can forgive, and the bonds that can transcend time. The Chao Phraya River continued to flow, the whirlpool continued to spin, the stories continue to be told, and perhaps on a quiet night, you might hear the faint sound of oars rowing toward the gateway between worlds, where Ta Phum still waits for the day to meet his descendants once more.